bring the energy, he'll do the rest. Martinez and Company, powered by Sports Radio 102.9 The Game.
You're going to hear it right here.
The show starts now.
Hello and welcome everybody to Martinez Company Live here on the Coastal Sports Network, brought to you by Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game. Right here, also, you guys remember it is Broad Street South, as my company has become many particular parts, but nonetheless, always entertaining. As you guys had just heard, the Pete Shepard Show from 7 to 10 a.m. Later on this afternoon will be my hermano. Rich Q will be back from 3 to 5 p.m. with the Drive with Q. Don't forget to download the app, as well as I put it out to make it even super easier for everyone on a post on X, where you guys can go out there and just click on that, the install page, download it, even though it says, yes, install page Broad Street South, because everything runs through Broad Street South. The one thing I am irritated, I'm going to get off my chest right now. Dylan, you need to somehow cleverly come up with some other name on Twitter, because I tell you what, every time I go look for your stuff, and even though we follow each other, we've been following each other for years now, when I go to put your name in there, it's like, no, what, you don't want this Dylan, you want that Dylan, maybe this Dylan. You got to go in there, my friend, and somehow or another either create a new one or something else, or I'll create one for you, because mic'd up DSPAU / this, that, and the other, it's enough to drive you nuts, but of course I'm kidding. But Dylan, good morning, senor. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, maybe I've thought about doing like mic'd up Dylan, just kind of keeping it simple like that. So maybe I'll switch it, although my email is mic'd up DSpouse. So
yeah, but that's fine. The email is one thing, but it's just your Twitter.
Yeah, no, maybe I might update it here in the near future. I have thought about that as well. But nevertheless, yes, good to be on, man. Thanks for having me on. A lot to get into. We obviously have USF stuff to talk about. Big soccer match tomorrow night. The USF women's team kicks off against the number one team in the country in the Florida State Seminoles. That's going to be really fun. And then, you obviously got football here in a few weeks with USF football. There's a lot of stuff to get into, man. It's going to be a fun day of talking some sports. So
it is, as always, and I do appreciate when Dylan comes on, because it's always a fun time, and then it makes it just a tad bit easier on me, where it's normally 2 hours of me just talking about the different topics of the day and stuff, but it's always good to have Dylan on. You guys will hear him just a little bit more from time to time as his schedule permits for him to be able to do so, which is always a great thing. And then at one point as well, Mike, you guys know him as the Duncan Dad over on X as well. He'll be at one point or another either popping in today or possibly on Friday, as we get the lowdown on the Olympic experience with him and his beautiful girlfriend / I'm pretty sure soon a fiance, Levon, unless maybe he hasn't asked yet. And then, well, then I just put it out there, but no, I don't. I haven't spoken to him in a while, so I'm pretty sure they're still there. I know they're a couple, lovely couple. Hopefully they'll move from Philly back here to Florida very, very, very soon, as Philly has gone bananas. But nonetheless, still love the city where I come from. But so a couple of news stories as well that we'll get into here locally. As listen, wherever you guys are, no matter what you do, always pay attention to your surroundings. And the reason why I say it is because what's the And just to give you a hint, because I don't want you to guess too much, but between a rock and a hard place, you put them together, Dylan. Obviously, you should know exactly what I'm talking about here. For the folks who love to go gambling, let's not forget to always look around your surroundings, because there was a couple that went out on a date night. They were just recently started dating. And unfortunately, two other guys that were arrested as well, thankfully, followed this couple home after winning $3,000 back to their Riverview home and decided, hey, we're not earning this money. Why don't we just shoot you in the legs, both legs, for that matter. Thank God the guy's, he's alive, but he was shot in both legs. Now has to recover. But when you're out there gambling, folks, listen, it could be $25. It seems that dumb, but people are always watching what you're doing. In Atlantic City, when I was back in Philadelphia, the high-stake nights were normally Wednesday through Saturday nights, Sunday every once in a while. But especially like Thursday night, when you think like, God, nobody goes out. Thursday nights were the nights where people used to watch others because they were up to no good. And they were just, sound almost like Will Smith there. But the big thing is that make sure whenever you're gambling, just look around you, because these guys were tracked for 3 hours when they went back at the security cameras at the Hard Rock Only come to find out they were being scoped out all this time. So just be careful when you're out there gambling and stuff, because that's the one thing that you don't want is to get shot. Number one, over something that you won. Number two, a date night with the lady you're just starting to date now, which again, thank God he is alive. But these guys are just what two ding dongs.
Yeah, a little crazy. It's actually, ironically enough, I just drove past Hard Rock for the first time in like a while. I didn't actually know where Hard Rock was. I mean, I knew it was over near the amphitheater in Tampa. I drive by the amphitheater not often, but I do know where the amphitheater is. And I didn't know exactly where the Hard Rock was kind of located. And then when I got on to Hillsboro, I realized, oh, it's like right off Hillsboro Avenue. So, yeah, and people are getting a little crazy nowadays. You got to be careful. Definitely got to be keeping up with your surroundings. A good example of that came like a day or two ago. I don't know if you saw the mom that ran over her kid in the school parking lot line in Sarasota. Like, come on, that was crazy. Although, according to the report, the kid got under the car and was grabbing her school supplies. So I'm not going to say, like, okay, there was a little bit of fault in both ends. First off, the kid should have been uh, good enough to understand. Wait, hold on. What did that comment say first?
So Joey B says, good morning to myself and you, Dylan. And then he says, be careful being followed by a guy named Dylan with a beard and a blue camouflage baseball cap.
Yeah, you haven't heard I'm in the military, guys. I'm in the Navy right now. No. Yeah, I mean, I'd read the story about that, I think a day or two ago, and that was crazy too, man. So yeah, definitely keep up with your surroundings, especially in the Tampa Bay area. It could be a little nutty in this area in certain spots, but yeah, it's I tell you what, there's some crazy people out there nowadays.
There are absolutely not. Joey B says, Dylan with the beard now, Angel. He's all grown up for the now from the first time he came on your show a few years ago. This way, see, Joey B will attest to this. Folks, if you're listening in for the very first time, thank you for listening to Martinez coming here on the Coastal Sports Network. Dylan has been the longest conversation anybody can remember. I met the young lad when he was 14 years old. They have no marks on his face, nothing.
I did have a little bit of facial hair, just a tad.
There wasn't even a whisker up there. What are you talking about?
No, okay, yeah. Maybe. There might have been a little bit. It wasn't very prominent. Now it feels like it's coming nicely. It's actually a bit more prominent. So.
It has. Well, within the last year, it has. When it first came out, it looked like it
was very patchy.
Yeah, very. It almost looked like you were just taking hairs from your scalp, which there's plenty of on your scalp, and then attaching it to your face to let it grow in. But no, it's looking better.
Honestly, I like the beard. I know people are going to say they don't like beards, but I mean, it's not very like big, but it's kind of like it's trimmed up enough where it's like, you know, it's clean. It looks good. So
it does. You clean it up. You got to keep it clean, especially you're in media. You got to keep it clean all the time. If you don't, you'll find out.
Exactly.
Now, I say this in jest because no, I did not meet Dylan when he was 14 years old. I met him 3 years ago, going on 4 now, which is, it seems like he was 14 at the time because he looked so young. But Dylan has, he's been working in media on his own prior to doing it now as a career. But he started with his own baseball podcast. He's had a lot of great guests on, which has been very impressive by Dylan. If you guys have not had the opportunity of listening to him doing a play-by-play broadcast, very entertaining, very knowledgeable. He's very passionate about what he does. And it's always a great time. Him and I share the mics at the Tampa Bay Titans. And soon, which I can't release the name of the team yet. We're still waiting for all the clarification to come through. But soon, Dylan and myself will be back behind the mic together. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it because we can have nothing but a ton of fun like we used to have before. And we'll be doing a lot of cool things here in the future. So just
Friday, we're going back to our roots, going to a little Clearwater Threshers game on Friday. Justin Crawford bobblehead night too, which is going to be fun. So it's always fun with you, Angel. I want to tell this story real quick. So when you reached out to me, this was like what, 2021, maybe 22? Yeah, 21. Yeah, that would have been about it. Yeah. So 2021, you reached out to me. I believe it was like in April. You reached out to me like right around the start of the minor league season when I started getting back into the groove of things. And I think you saw my podcast, and I was at the time, I think I had the Florida State League radio network, my Flow Show stuff on my Twitter page, or it might have been just me. I'm not too sure. But I know you reached out to me. You were saying, hey, we could use somebody covering the Bucks during the the fall season and such, and then I reached back out to you in October of that year, and we just started becoming friends. And then 2022, we got to meet each other at the Titans game for the first time, and that was incredible. And then we found out we lived like 5 minutes away from each other, and that was even cooler. So it's funny how what's the saying where your friends aren't too far away.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, man. Like we had no idea we lived like right down the road from each other, and you know when we first met, but it's been a pleasure to get to know you, my friend. We've had a lot of fun, and we're only going to continue to have fun on this show.
No, that's true, and I appreciate it. As we had a couple texts that came in, but no, it's been a lot of fun. Getting to Dylan and I like to goof around a ton away from what we do here professionally.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where he'll just call me just randomly just because, and it'll start out with, I would say, the first maybe 2 minutes of a serious conversation. The rest of the time, it's all just goofy nonsense that we go on back and forth, especially when we're together. I think the best time that we've had so far was when the Fanatic came into town. When you talk about someone looking like an actual kid again, it was funny to see Dylan's face when the Fanatic was around, but it's always a great time. But
I've never met the Fanatic. It was cool. It was a neat experience. So it was cool.
But think about it, though, Dylan. I mean, I know he comes here in February, but when he came down, that was almost around this time, if not just a couple weeks earlier.
Yeah, he's actually coming. I think he came maybe a few weeks ago. I think it might have been the week of my birthday. He was at the stadium. So.
Yeah,
which they just have a costume there. It's like just a Fanatic costume. Because they keep it all year round. Like we have an Ace Blue Jays costume at the facility. So it's like they just have a spring training costume. They don't actually travel the Fanatic down from Philadelphia for the day.
Well, now that everyone knows, thanks. I'm pretty sure there'll be a call from the Phillies. That's Dylan, by the way, not me. That was him. So I have nothing to do with that.
But I don't know. Maybe they do. Hold on. Maybe they do. I'm just saying for the Blue Jays, that's what we do. We have the, Blue Jay Ace costume. And then we also have the Dunedin Blue Jay DJ costume. Because we have the Florida operations. So
is that like DJ Kitty, which I think it's mostly
DJ D and then J and then AY.
Okay.
DJ. Yeah.
All right. Because if it's anything like the Rays, that's where do you get that? Makes absolutely no sense to me. I understand like the actual
So the reason they did it, I'll give you the reason why, a little backstory. So like in 2010, they used to play this video of like a cat doing like the DJ set and stuff. And it was like a meme that was going around for like years. And they apparently had a cat, somebody like in the organization had a cat, and they did that video and put a Rays jersey on it and a Rays hat, and it became viral in the stadium. So they decided to make an actual mascot on it. I don't know. It's all right, I guess. I don't know. Raymond's cooler, in my opinion. Although, I mean, they're not really the best mascots in baseball. Like the Philly Fanatic's the best mascot in baseball. Like it's there's no denying it at all. Although I will say, like Blooper from the Braves, he does a lot of cool stuff. I see his Instagram stories and stuff, and then like even the Astros mascot, I see a lot of as well. As although I'm not a huge Astros fan, I do like their mascot. He does some funny stuff as well. So there's some good mascots out there. They get a little entertaining.
Yeah, but I want to know, Dylan, before I get into the two texts that end up coming in. By the way, there will be a Bucks segment coming up at 11:30. We'll have a mystery caller, which will be revealed at 11:30. But with the new stadium coming around for the Rays, do you think they'll actually decide that maybe it's time to also freshen up the mascots as well?
I think they may rebrand the team. I don't know if they'll rebrand the mascots, so to say. Excuse me one second.
And God bless
me. Thank you. I don't know if they will freshen up the mascot, so to say, but I do think that they will rebrand the team. So,
yeah, the team rebranding. I expect to bless you again. I would expect the rebranding of the team definitely. I would think also new uniforms to go along with it. But it was just.
I would like to see them go back to the Devil Rays colors. The old school, the cool. I mean, and if they do it in a way where it's modern, like keep the Rays name. Like I'm fine with it being the Tampa Bay Rays. It doesn't have to be the Devil Rays. Like, okay, I love the Devil Rays and I love that moniker, but the Rays is fine. Like keep it with the Rays, but bring back that Devil Rays look because that is classic, right? That's like classic Rays. And I definitely do. They got to rebrand, I think, because they have not rebranded since 2008. It's been a while. So it'd be nice to see a little bit of an update with their uniforms, maybe have a new home set, a new road set, 2 new alternates, and then you obviously have your City Connect jersey as well. So it'd be nice to see them do like kind of a reset of their branding and such because they need it. It's been a bit. So
Now, by the way, speaking of 2008, how did that work out for them?
we won't discuss about that. I was very excited when they made the World Series that year. So I've only like recently became a Phillies fan, like within the past like handful of years, given the fact that we go to a lot of Threshers games. I get to know a lot of these younger guys. So I've recently became a Phillies fan, maybe over the last like 7-8 years, maybe. Roy Halladay was a big reason why I also got into the Phillies too. So maybe like 10-15 years. So probably like right after the World Series, I became a really big Phillies fan. And it's not because of bias, it's just because I'm a big Roy Halladay fan. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. The Rays are kind of going in a weird direction right now. They imploded their roster, so we'll see what ends up happening with the team going forward.
Yeah, just on the rebuild. That's all it is. Jerry from Rhode Island. I have to say it slow because if I say it fast, usually I screwed up. He says, nothing better than talking with military guys. And then Gaspam guy says, I wish I can grow a beard. All I can grow is a mustache and a goatee. That's it. LOL. And listen, some people, that's it. Some people don't even get that much. It's funny because I just, and I see the other messages coming in here through the social medias, but I was just telling Debbie just yesterday, we were having this conversation that I never shaved until I got into the military because all through high school, I never had facial hair. It's just because it was one of those things. And my uncle kept saying, why don't you shave so they come in? Like, I do not want to look like I'm 21 years old when I'm going to high school. My thing was, and back in the day, I think we may have, honestly, maybe one guy that I can think of that had like full facial hairs. But back then, when I went to high school from 85 to 88, it wasn't a thing. The guys were more, you would see the guys with the long hair, long curly hair, mini afros, stuff like that, but not the facial hair. That's now today, half of these kids, when they're in 5th grade, they go to school like, dude, where the hell did you get the beard from? Like, but that's a lot of stuff's got to do with the chemicals and stuff they put in the food. Let's see now. Joey B says, Dylan, as a younger generation representative on the show, what are your thoughts on the breakdancing in the Olympics?
Ooh, I like that question. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was unique. It's cool. I mean, it's I think it's very much a French thing because apparently France is like big into breakdancing. So, I mean, I thought it was unique. I don't know. I mean, it was different. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to see it yearly. I feel like it wouldn't be something I would want like every year as an Olympic sport. Like for the U.S. when they get for the U.S. Olympics, I'm excited to see like flag football. I'm excited to see baseball and softball. Lacrosse is gonna be really fun too. Like lacrosse is a really fun sport. We're actually getting lacrosse at USF this year.
Are you?
Yeah, we are. We're getting a team next this spring. So
nice.
I'm very excited for that. Actually, I've never done lacrosse. I've watched like lacrosse, but I don't know much of the rules. So that's gonna be exciting. But I thought it was entertaining. I don't know. I like some of the Olympic sports, like handball. I was really enjoying. I got into that a little bit. Soccer. I was watching a lot of. Basketball. I was watching a lot of as well. Like it was. I enjoy the Olympics a little bit. There are a few things that I was not a fan of. I don't want to get political or anything like that on the show, but.
All right, if you're talking about the opening ceremonies, they absolutely sucked.
Well, that and also the whole thing with the boxing stuff too was kind of that was it. Again, I'm not against certain things, but that was just not fair to me. So, but anyways, that's for another time here nor there.
No, but listen, I'll say it for you. I know you because you for your own reasons, but for me, my thing is again, I'm going to explain something to everyone who's listening in because I don't want people to go turn around and try and make up their own stories or convolute things or anything else like that. I've had many of friends, whether being straight, bi, gay, that's never in my lifetime ever been an issue. I've got zero problems with that whatsoever because you embrace the person for what they are and whom they are because that's the way life is, right? And we've somewhere in someone's family, it's been the same way too. And they, back then when people try to come out, it was a big deal. Now, because of the way that things are right now, and I'll try to kind of somewhat gingerly go around this, but when you try to shove certain things down people's throats all the time, it will drive you absolutely bananas. And a lot of it comes from the political side of the world as well. So let's not forget too, there was 9 major sponsors that pulled out as soon as that opening ceremony was done. So were the 9 major sponsors into the Olympics. That's why when you saw some of the commercials on TV, a lot of them that were supposed to play out weren't played because sponsors pulled out. I mean, we saw the same thing with Bud Light, just 2 years ago, and they're still trying to save themselves from stuff that they've done. So live your life the way you want to live it, because again, no one is going to ever, that I can think of, one thing when I lived in Philly, the great thing that I used to do when I was doing Uber and Lyft prior to moving down here, along my full-time job, there was two clubs, and I wish I could remember the name of them both, but there was the one gay club that was on the corner near Chestnut, and the other one wasn't that far away. When the 4 group of guys that were standing outside, I can hear, and I'm not going to say what was said because it was bad. But I got out the car and I said, is there something wrong or something I can help you guys out with? And the one thing they said to me was like, well, we just got told that we were this, that, and the other. Again, I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want to cause a major fracas with anybody. But my thing was like, listen, jump in my car with me. I'll take you guys where you need to be. I said, I'm normally doing Uber and Lyft anyways. I'm pretty sure if the ride that you guys were supposed to get in front of me, they decided to decline you, I'll take you guys. Well, it turns out that I ended up becoming really good friends with these guys, and to the point where every Saturday I look forward to picking them up at 2 a.m. because they laughed and joked so much that we just had fun with every type of conversation ever. Mm-hmm. Went out to, we would go out to the local diner in South Philly before even they went home. I mean, we became that tight-knit, close of a friend. And then they invited me to the club they used to go to. I had the best time of my life. So I don't have problems with anybody in the walk of life that you want to do. The problem is that when you continue to just churn things up and force things down people's throat, it's like when before you used to get people to come door to door knocking and telling you about the Bible and everything else. People couldn't stand it, right? So if you go to church, you believe in God, your faith, you're going to do what you need to do to make yourself one with God. Now, at the same time, too, I'm not going to walk up to somebody just randomly on a sidewalk and tell me, have you been saved? And they'll probably look at me like, what? Or going to knock me out 1 or 2 because they don't want to be disturbed by it. So I think a lot of that, the political aspect of things in the very beginning, I think it was a bad look altogether. And also, when you're using the Last Supper, that picture that's known for many, many years, and you alter that to whatever universe that you think was the smartest thing to do, that's just a bad look, and it's a bad look in the IOC, and it's a bad look for the Olympic Committee altogether. So I'll leave it at that. But
no, you're not wrong. I mean, it was definitely not thought of like before going into it. Like it wasn't thought out fully, I should say. They should have thought about it more and the impact it would have on certain groups and then with everything going on with the boxing stuff too, like that was another thing. It was like, it just wasn't fair. Like you have a man, it's a man, a biological man fighting against a female. I don't care if he's switched or not. It's not a fair fight because the testosterone levels are different. There's a lot of differences. So again, outside of that though, I did enjoy the Olympics. I thought it was very entertaining. There was stuff that I enjoyed. I am looking forward for baseball coming back to the Olympics in 2028. I think it's going to be good. Softball is getting popular. I think it's going to be really exciting to see softball in the Olympics. There's a lot of good young softball players coming up into the system in collegiate softball, so that should be fun. And then you look at some of the other, things going on as well. You have, like, again, lacrosse is going to be really good. That's a growing sport. And then you also have, what is it? Flag football. I mean, to see some NFL guys maybe get in and get a chance to play, that's gonna be really cool. So we'll see. It's gonna be exciting to see what the Olympics in 2028 have, and this is all happening in the U.S. So it's gonna be much more accessible. It may be one of the biggest attended Olympic games that we've seen in a while. So it's gonna be pretty neat.
There is, if I do remember correctly, I'll see if I come across a story, but I believe there is a local coach around here in the Tampa region that will representing one of the teams out there in the 2028 flag football competition, which I'm looking forward to that as well. I think it's going to be really neat I guess to say it in the best terms possible, but I'm looking forward to that. Lacrosse, definitely for sure. The one thing I will always say, listen, when it comes to women in gymnastics, how in the world do they contour their bodies the way they do? Yet alone Simone Biles, who leaps 12 feet up in the air. And even if she steps out of bounds a little bit, man, I know she did it with some injury as well, but it's amazing how these women end up doing it year after year after year. And then the longevity that some of them have in gymnastics, it's insane, not even including the water. But I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the Olympics. I did enjoy. It's been, I think this year was probably the first time in a long time I've watched as much coverage. And I did watch the handball. Yeah. Water polo was actually good. Unfortunately, the U.S. women did not make it to the gold round, but they started out really well, really hot in the very beginning. But a lot of it was good. The handball was pretty. It was pretty cool. I mean, it was all right. The 3-on-3.
And remember too, the last Olympics we had was in 2021. It was kind of like in the middle of COVID. So there was a lot of people who backed out of it. They didn't want to travel to Tokyo. That was kind of right where everything was going on.
Yeah.
Basically in that, area. So it was kind of a different Olympics the last time we had it, right? It was a different landscape, if you will, and people weren't participating in it as much. So it was nice to see this Olympics kind of go back. And I mean, you look at the basketball team, right? The men's basketball team, it may be the final time that group takes the floor together. I mean, LeBron's probably going to be retired by the time the next one comes around, unless he still decides to play another 4 years, which I doubt.
I doubt it.
That maybe that is his song is the Olympics in 28, but I doubt it. I mean, KD may retire by then. Steph Curry could be gone by then. I mean, this very well might have been the best U.S. team we've had in the last 20 years since maybe the Dream Team.
Yeah,
but probably going to be gone by the time the next Olympics comes around. So.
Probably so. As Penguin AZ says, "Good morning, Angel Dilling and Martinez and company," and then he says, "What's up, Joey B?" As they exchange pleasantries. And I'll get back to that thought here with the Olympics. Rick says, Eagles weekend in Tampa coming up in September. Time to hit Frenchies again. That's true. Rick, by the way, I don't know what you're doing Friday evening, Friday afternoon, but over there at the ballpark, Rick or Crawford bobblehead night, some of us will be over there. If you want to join us, you're more than welcome to come over there and join us. And Penguin AC says, how about them Diamondbacks? The Answerbacks are on fire. Yes, as the Phillies have learned that the Diamondbacks, and that didn't start out so hot, but again, it's not the beginning, right? It's where you finish. No, and absolutely. Diamondbacks are getting back up there. But the one thing you were mentioning about the NBA athletes, to me, and maybe it's just me, again, being a homer, Dylan, I think there's so much talent in the NCAA ranks. And in the same way with the WNBA, this WNBA team, 8 gold medals in a row, which is insane.
Yep.
But I think at least for the men, the women are going to have their talented players, and not saying the NBA men will not. I would just like this, at least for one Olympic, for us to pick the best of the best collegiate athletes and allow them to go out there and compete for gold. Because I get it. I understand. Baseball, I'm pretty sure they're going to have all the Major League Baseball players are going to go out there. They're going to compete. And who was it?
Well, they didn't last time. I will say this. Last time the Olympics were around, and this was during Tokyo. Remember, this is also during COVID, so this could change the next time they have the baseball games in the Olympics. There was no MLB players in that game, no active. There were a lot of minor league guys,
right,
and a lot of guys who were free agents. So, but to go back to what you were saying, though, I'll let you finish out what you're trying to get to.
No, my thing is I would love to see the college athletes come back. I mean, we're doing it obviously for gymnastics, for handball. I mean, you name it. There's the handful of sports. Breakdancing, no offense, listen to pop, lock, and rock and all that good fun stuff. That was a miserable fail by the Olympic Committee to try and put that together. I'm all for, like, if you go to New York, Philly, Cali, You guys want to go out there, parts of Florida down here in Miami, where you guys want to see that competition. It's great to see it. It's just not an Olympic event. And then when you brought out the product that you did out of Australia, that's the first thing that everybody saw. It's basically like, are you serious? This is what we're going to watch for the next 3 days. So that's the one thing I wasn't fond of, the whole breakdancing segment of it. And I know they don't want to call it that, but that's exactly what it was. It made no sense to me. But on the flip side though, Dylan, just because they've thought about it as well, what if they decide to bring the gamers, and you know what I'm talking about, Sony PlayStationers, Xboxers, what happens if they actually, because a lot of these guys and girls who put these teams together on the gaming platform, which is still popular to this day, what if they bring that as an Olympic event?
Well, they already are going to actually have an Olympic, of like their own Olympics. They announced right before the beginning of this Olympics that they will be having an Olympic e-games. So they're going to have their own Olympics games. Like, it's going to be their own thing, which I'm not against. Like, I think esports is becoming huge, and I do believe that there is a place for it. I don't believe it's a legitimate sport, but I do believe that it does take some mental capability to be good at that. Like, to be good at it at a video game. Like, there is some mental aspects to it that it takes, like just being on top of your game, being, knowing how to play the game for one, and also just being, cognizant of like what's going on during the game. How do we need to attack this? So they're going to have the e-games. They're going to have their own games. They had already announced that, and I like it. I think it's cool. We'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be hosted by like a country or how that works. I don't know if it's just going to be like they're doing it like, but I don't know. It'd be kind of neat. I don't think it's going to have the same backing compared to like all the Olympic Games or even the Paralympic Games. But like, I definitely think it's going to be popular for a lot of the younger kids. Imagine like your favorite YouTuber gets selected to go and be a part of the e-games. Like, yeah, it's gonna get some draw. It definitely will have a following. So I don't know. We'll see.
It will. I mean, you got to figure some of these gamers, by the way, have that put together, especially like these NBA teams. They make almost in the realm of $1 million per year because they have, which is insane to think. I mean, when you have a radio station like myself, a digital radio station, and you do live shows, you reach out to sponsors, potential sponsors, see what end up coming on, and then you have the gamers that will have sponsors nearly going to them and saying, hey, I would love to be your sponsor. And if you're rejecting sponsorships, it's insane to me. But a lot of these teams, they do have major sponsors. So even though people
look at the NBA, they have their own 2K league. They have their own league. You can actually go online and buy merchandise for the league. I actually own a hat. Like, I own a 2K league hat because it's cool. It's a Orlando Magic gaming hat. And it almost looks like the Death Star from Star Wars, and I just thought this is such a cool hat to have. And the guy was basically just giving this stuff away too because nobody's buying it because when you're at the Magic game, you're not going to buy 2K League gear. Like, not what you're going there to buy. You're going to buy your team gear. You're going to buy your jersey of whatever, Paulo Banchero or Franz Wagner. But I mean, I don't know. I like e-gaming. Gaming is becoming a part of this culture, right? It's becoming a part of this new age, and there's a spot for it. So having an e-games is going to be good. Having their own game is good because I feel like if they put it in the Olympics as its own sport, it's going to get lost in the shuffle because nobody's going to. There's so many sports going on that it would never work. It would never work. It just wouldn't get enough appreciation. So having its own thing is good. And people won't get mad about it either because there'll be people who'll be like, why is this in there? Like, can we actually put a real sport in? Like that there will be people that would say that if it was in.
There would. You're absolutely right, though. You would, but you also look at it too. A lot of, as much people don't talk about maybe on the inner cities portion of it, but you look at a lot of the inner cities, a lot of these kids, like the Boys Girls Club, I know a lot of them aren't being sponsored anymore, and a lot of them are struggling to kind of keep them around. So a lot of the other places have been having, for example, their own kind of e-games, little either auditoriums and other different little things where they want to keep these kids off the streets. And a lot of them go back and they said it's helped them out a lot because they, instead of one child, and I know we all come from different walks of life, but if you can get one child to stay off the street and become a gamer, and he or she is proud of what they've done, by all means, put it out there on full display. I think too, and I know in Philly, I'm almost certain it's right nearby Citizens Bank Park. They also made a e-gaming facility. And I believe you can also go there as a spectator as well, where they have like kind of stands on the side. You can watch these guys. And some of these games where I've seen them on YouTube, and when they have the 11 Sports Network, if I remember correctly, on cable as well, some of these guys and girls, when they end up playing, I mean, some of these games are even more, I would say even more in detail, more in depth than what the NBA. And what I like about it is you're watching the game and you're also listening to the trash talk at the same time. And it's so much fun. So I wouldn't mind seeing it if they do decide to bring it to the Olympics. But Penguin AZ also says, what about pickleball?
Pickleball's huge, man. I think that will be an Olympic sport at some point. I don't know when it will be, but I do think pickleball will be an Olympic sport at some point. That is becoming a huge sport. It is really, really growing. I would not be surprised whatsoever that's going to be an Olympic sport.
Yeah. We've seen it down here in Florida. It's huge here in Florida.
It is huge.
There's a facility that they're making right outside, I think just north of Fort Lauderdale, where they're going to have something like some 80 courts, something ridiculous, where massive tournament's going to be played year in and year out. They just had one not too long ago. Dave
Benz, the pickleball league, Major League Pickleball.
Yeah. Dave Benz had just covered it from the LFG show. He had just covered it here, I want to say like less than maybe 2 months ago when he came down. It was like a 4-day weekend. And which I didn't know until I happened to ask him the question, but there was a young lady, I believe either she just turned 18 or 19 years old, one of the two. And her mom has been playing, I guess, for several years. And it was the first time they took the court together as a team.
That's
cool. They ran the course, I mean, like it was no one's business. And you were just, because my dad, love him to death, not coordinated when it comes to any kind of baseball, football, hockey, none of that stuff, right? But he'll call me on Monday and let me know how the Eagles end up doing the best way that he possibly can. I love him for it. But, if you get it to be able to have the opportunity of playing with your parent as a team member and they play as good as you, if not better than you, I'd be all for it. And I know obviously LeBron wants to play with his son, kind of one of the reasons why he's hanging around. But pickleball would be good. And then Rick Marcus says, imagine the hot dog eating contest in the Olympics. That I think you probably have more people disgusted than anything else. But I mean, you have Joey Chestnut who was denied of the Nathan's hot dog eating contest because of the one that the company and the brand that he was
it's a vegan brand, and they make their own hot dogs.
Right. And so it's like they told him no because it wasn't a Nathan's. But either way, it's a hot dog eating contest. So maybe there was something in the clause there that he can change come the next time around. But still, all that sodium in your system, good Lord, not including the bread. Ugh.
I don't think it would be a Olympic sport. I don't know. That seems a little bit much, but I don't see that being an Olympic sport. But I do love the hot dog eating contest. I've actually been to it before. It's fun.
They are fun. Joey B says, here in Colorado, old basketball courts are being ripped out, and the town city is putting in pickleball courts. Amazing to think that parks no longer will have hoops options for kids. Yeah, it's a shame.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it is a shame. By the way, Denver, so we went there last year for a wedding, and the tent city that was downtown Denver, and Denver's, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Downtown is great. You can walk around. We stopped by this one place nearby Coors Field where they have these angel wings, and I want to say they're made out of, look like brass, but I don't know exactly what the material was. But you go up these steps, and you're right into downtown Denver. It's right by the water. And the nice part about it was they have these, it's like miniature rapids, because there was an amusement park that is, and if Joey knows the name of it, Joey B, but so where the Broncos play, if you come out of there and you're heading to where who's my other team in Denver out there? Denver Nuggets. Right nearby, there's an amusement park. And it looks like it's only open at nighttime. But it looks like the coolest thing. Debbie and I passed by there. We didn't get a chance to go in at nighttime. But it was Denver is it's crisp. It was so clean. Up until this one area where we went to, it was nearby an Enterprise. That's what it is. Joey B, thank you very much. Six Flags Elite Gardens in the amusement park, which is it is very, very neat. And at first we just thought it was on the South Platte River. That's exactly where we were. But it's neat though because you can actually either have a tube, and what else? It wasn't a kayak. I know we saw a lot of tubes and something else. But anyways, there's a Starbucks that's nearby there as well, and there's one like a sporting goods place, but it had like mountain terrain stuff in there. The building was massive, absolutely beautiful. But downtown Denver, this tent city that was being placed out there, I think they finally did something about it, but it caught fire like the entire block because it started 110 going across. That was probably my only major complaint about Denver. Everything else, the people, Colorado itself, the atmosphere, and it was a load of fun. So I would love to go back there. I got to get back there anyway. So Joey B and I can all hang out. And Coors Field, I absolutely loved. I thought it was great.
We'll go together, Angel. We'll do like a tandem trip together.
Sure. Matter of fact, maybe we'll bring some equipment out there and just do a live remote from one of our locations out there. So we'll put a trip together. We'll make sure Joey B's in town. I know he does a lot of coaching as well as a dad.
And we can get some Rocky Mountain oysters while we're out there too.
Sure. Yeah, we can. Although I'm not a huge fan of oysters. I know I heard they're an aphrodisiac for some, but
well, they're not real oysters.
I know. I know.
That's in case you were wondering.
No, I know where you're going, but yes, I was trying to skirt around as much as you did.
There's something. There's something, but I don't know if it's professional to say what they are on screen.
Yeah, they'll do it. I'll see. Maybe I'll try and reach out to maybe the Rockies and see if listen. They need every little bit of stuff that and see. Now we got Rick, the connection here. Fly Southwest direct to Denver. There you go. We'll put it all together. Rick will have to join us as well. I love when Rick comes on location when I'm out there at Tampa Joe's because it's great. Not only does he listen in, he participates in there. And then when people come around, it's the greatest thing because they look at Rick like, are you part of this? And he just kind of gives this look like, yeah. But Rick is always a great friend, another great friend of the show here.
There's no NASCAR racing, though, in Denver. No races in Denver.
No, but there's plenty of other stuff to do out there, senor.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Goodness gracious. No, but it's a good time. I would love.
They could always put a racetrack at the Denver Broncos stadium like they did with the LA Coliseum.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Although I wasn't a fan though. Until you see certain stadiums in person, like where the Broncos play, mm-hmm. I can see why they only show like the overhead shot, but like literally the ring of the stadium.
Yeah.
And then majority of the shots that you end up seeing are of downtown Denver because it's not, I'm not saying it's the worst area. Because believe me, there's places in Philly where are a lot worse than where the stadium is, Empower Stadium over there for Denver. But there was also some other shop nearby there. I don't know if it was a coffee shop. Debbie and I were trying to stop by there because we were trying to take a tour of Empire Field, but I think we had gotten there just a little bit too late. And it was some quaint little shop that's right around the corner, but to me, it's not placed in the best area, but I probably understand it when they first built it because that was what was available. But nonetheless, I would love to go out there. Even if we did something live from Coors Field, it would be absolutely just fantastic. Because like I said, we didn't have not one bad experience, and everybody we ran into was friendlier than the next, and it was absolutely awesome. So if you guys have never been and know Denver and Colorado sport traveling agency, whatever they call themselves, and did not pay me for any of that stuff, I'm just telling you, it's a great time out there in Colorado. If you've not been, it's great.
I was going to say, and even Portland's pretty cool too. But I went out to Portland.
Once again, visit Colorado.
Listen, I wanted to say though, I actually got this shirt. Actually, I'm wearing my Portland. Bumping into my desk here. I got my Portland shirt. I know you can't see it, but it's got coffee and like trees and like some other deer thing on the back. I don't know. But Portland was actually cool too. Portland was neat. It wasn't as bad as everybody said it was.
Brick, thank you very much. Got to roll in for Denver and can help with the flights if interested. I do appreciate it. Joey B. Awesome. Have a great day, Rick, and stay hydrated because I know he's on a tarmac, which is absolutely nuts out there at Tampa International. Joey B says Broncos ownership rumored to be buying more land out by the airport and building an entertainment district like Jerry Jones and Cowboys did. That would be interesting.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
And that airport, by the way, is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I mean, and I know people don't come on air and rave about airports, but I will say Vegas was nice. Denver definitely has a really nice laid out airport. It's really, really neat.
Tampa's is really nice too. Tampa's is a good airport as well. Some of the terminals are really like they keep up with it pretty well.
They do, but I think if Tampa, I know they're very limited as far as any kind of expansion out there. But I think
Portland was terrible. When I went to Portland, it was bad. None of the food options were open, even late in the evening, and that was kind of
Oh yeah, no, yep, nope. That's one thing. If it doesn't, that doesn't make any sense to me either. Because if you fly in, dare I say, after 9 o'clock in Tampa, I hope you ate either on the plane or once you get out to wherever your location is. Because I don't understand how Philly Airport, you're guaranteed at least till 1 a.m. if you're coming in that there's something open, a restaurant.
When I went on my flight to Tampa, though, this was kind of interesting. They had like restaurants open like at 4 a.m. It was really weird.
At TBI?
At the terminal, yeah, TBA. Yeah.
There's a couple coffee shops that are open when you.
That might have been what it was, but
yeah, when you go through the security terminal, I think it's on the left as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
That's but all of them are not open either. But there is, if you do come in, like I came in from Philly once, I got here at midnight. Another time when Debbie and I were flying back from Vegas this past February, we were delayed coming back. But when we got back, it was close to 1 a.m., I want to say. And there is a magazine shop that's open 24 hours, which we didn't find out till the last time we went there because we were dying for coffee. And the lady said, no, they were really nice. And he said that it's open till 24 hours. So at least if you're looking for coffee and a couple of pastries, that's the place to go to. So yes, see, now you guys get the tour of Tampa and all that good fun stuff.
St. Paul was actually a nice airport too. When I went to St. Paul for my connection flight back in June, because I went to Portland and St. Paul. I was on the YouTube. I was on your YouTube video when I was watching your show. Because I was 2 hours behind. And I think you guys it was like 9 o'clock were you in Tampa, but no, St. Paul was actually nice. That was a good airport. I saw they had a lot of Vikings gear though. I'm not gonna buy any Vikings gear.
No, although St. Louis wasn't too bad either. And then Chicago is friggin' ridiculous.
We got to make a trip. We got to do like a trip to a spot, Angel. We got to maybe do that Denver trip or something at some point.
No, we'll go to Denver. I'm telling you, Denver, it's such a, but you got to do Denver in the summer. I'm pretty sure in the wintertime would be nice too, but
my buddy did it during the winter. I think he did his like in October.
Yeah, no, I'd rather go either late spring, early summer, or right during the summer. Like when we went last year, like I said, it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, this time last year when we went, and it's great though because it's hot during the day, but it cools down so nice at nighttime. It's really, really neat. So I enjoyed it. We'll end up making a trip out there. It'll be fun. We'll get Joey B and the folks who listen out there in Denver, the Colorado area, to come and join us. And who knows, we'll maybe go up to Pikes Peak. Debbie and I already went there.
Yeah,
that was a great time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's actually a racing spot, Pikes Peak.
There you go. So, we'll put them together. I'm quite sure we will throw something together. All right, we are on limited commercial interruptions, but we will take our first one here. It is 10:49 here on a Wednesday afternoon. We are live. Martinez Company, Dylan Spalding joining me today here live on the network. Don't forget, you guys can visit sr1029thegame.com. Download the app. Also, if you guys seen my post from earlier on SR1029 The Game, you guys can just click on the link that I put out there and you can download the app that way. Simple set of instructions to be able to download it, install on your phone, tablet, Android device, everything that you have. It is super simple to download. Therefore, you won't miss a live show and or a live event, no matter where we are. So good things are coming down the pike. Dylan and I's probably got a couple other things that hopefully come together so we can inform you guys and let you guys what we're doing as far as joint ventures, which is going to be a lot of fun. Also on Friday's show, Becca Monopoly will be on. You guys will get to know exactly who she is come Friday. So there'll be a segment with her come on the Friday show, which is locally here in Lakeland. And wink, wink is why I say that Dylan and I will be doing something here together, hopefully as all the cards and maybe cars come into play. We will team up and do some stuff together here, which is, it's always fun to be able to talk to local folks here right in nearby your hometown where you can always do great stuff. So, other than that, thank you guys once again for tuning in on the socials, on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, of course, here on Sports Radio 102.9 and on SR1029thegame.com. We are going to take a commercial break here to pay a couple of bills as soon as I find them. And then when we come back, let's see, we already told you about the stories from unfortunate people in the encounter that they had at the casino. As Dylan talked about, the parent that unfortunately rolled over a kid just, by accident, which wasn't intentional. So we'll get into USF Move In Day, which Dylan knows about out there being with USF. Also, we'll get some men's soccer update and also the women who are about to take the local soccer team here, the Tampa Bay Sun Football Club, that are about to play their second exhibition game before the premier game.
No, they actually played their already exhibition game Saturday. So this will be their game this Sunday is going to be their first.
Okay. Thanks.
I was just helping you out.
I was just, okay. I was trying to just throw it out there for people. I got it. Once again, folks, this is what happens when I get together.
I'm just helping you out. I'm trying to get the facts right for the people.
Yeah, right for the people. I got you. All right, listen, we'll be right back. You're listening to Martinez coming live here on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't just follow us on the socials. Call or text the show 727-858-6650 and let us know what's on your mind. Now back to Martinez and Company.
All right. Welcome back here, Martinez Company. I am Angel Martinez. He is Dylan Spalding. Martinez Company live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Soon, maybe going back to 5 days a week, but because there's so much stuff I do here behind the scenes, it's kind of tough to do so. And there's only 24 hours in a day. I already used 32 of the 24, so it makes it a little more difficult. Also, thanks for those who like to download the show after we're done in Paris, Germany, Republic of China, Brazil, Africa, everywhere around the world, Italy. I mean, friends here from California, all the way across our great nation. Thank you all for downloading and listening to the show. We do appreciate the love and support. We can't thank you enough for doing so. Also, don't forget to visit sr1029thegame.com and view all the content that's up there on the homepage, especially over on the Sports Radio tab. If you guys go there, you can see the live show replays over there. So you'll see one from Pete later on today, myself here from after Dylan and I were done, and then later on with my hermano, who's coming on, Rich Q, The Drive with Q from 3 to 5 p.m. He is also live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we can't thank you guys enough. It is 10:57 here on the East Coast, 7:57 on the left coast. Of course, Colin talking about California, Arizona, and such places out there. But Dylan, USF, here we are, moving days. And I'm quite hectic on the campus. I would like for you to let the crowd know what's it like on campus on moving days.
Well, not much really I can give you because I haven't moved in yet to campus. No, but it is hectic from what I've seen. You know, it is kind of crazy. A lot of people getting back into the swing of things. Most people are already kind of back on campus, so especially the athletes. Soccer's already going again, which tomorrow, big game. Again, Florida State, as I mentioned earlier, big game for women's soccer tomorrow. Men's soccer still has one more exhibition. You should come out to that game, Angel, tomorrow. It's a big game tomorrow.
I will be out there, senor.
Oh, you will be out there. Good. I will be seeing you there then. I'm going to be statting. You can tell me if I'm doing it wrong or not. No, but tomorrow's going to be good. It's going to be a fun opener. And looking forward to seeing how the women's team play. But yeah, moving day is a hectic one, especially that first week of school is always crazy at USF. Usually by the time it gets into like October, November, it gets to kind of slow down a little bit. But those first few weeks of the year are always packed because everybody wants to get back into school. And it's also the fall semester. So you have everybody who's on campus. And then by the spring, it gets to be a little bit less hectic. But it should be good, man. I'm looking forward to being back on campus more often. I got classes already picked out. We're all good there. And just getting ready to get back going again, man. It's going to be good.
I know that because of BJ Daniels, great friend of the show here, and I've had a couple times with him over there at USF. And I know for the men athletes, as far as and some of the women as well, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been the women's basketball, but I know they have the facility on campus. The weight room is ridiculous.
And they have facilities are really nice.
Yeah, which also you guys have the glowing nights from what BJ was telling me about when you guys have it. Obviously, wait until it's dark outside, and then they light up the inside of the weight room in green. They have their different workouts with the different programs, and everything that you need in that facility is there. But do most of the athletes, once their season is over, now again, I know the men is up. They a lot of them stay during when you guys are done. Like let's say in May you guys are finished. There's a lot of the guys who end up hanging around because they still work out and do different type of activities. But I also know, I think there's like a week or somewhere between there where no one can do anything. Like everything's completely shut down because I think most of your office staff and stuff, they end up taking off at a certain time. But do most of the athletes at USF, depending on what time of year that they're on, do they like to hang around during the summer, or do most of them end up taking off as well?
I think there are some that go back, especially the ones that I think are like overseas. I feel like sometimes they try to go back to their family. It just depends on what sport they're in, right? Like, if you're in soccer, okay, so you're playing the fall, your spring, you're probably still taking classes in the spring. And then your summer, you're prepping again to go back to soccer. So there are certain sports you can't do that, right? Like football is different because football, a lot of guys are local and there's not a ton of guys who are coming over internationally. We only have like one international player, and his name is Andrew Stokes. Ironically enough, I had him in my class last fall, which is kind of cool. I had the kicker and the punter of USF in my class last fall. And actually, they're both pretty cool dudes. But yeah, I mean, most people, like if they live locally, which a lot of them do live in the state of Florida or in the States, they just travel back. But I mean, if they are overseas, I think it's a little bit tougher, right? Because it's like, you have a lot more, the travel's a little bit tougher to do. And I do think that there are a lot less that make that trip back overseas.
Right.
So I think there's a decent amount of them, though, that go home. At least the ones that are like in state, for sure.
Now for the men's soccer, the same way with the women's soccer, throughout and I'll be exposed to it for the first time this season with both of the teams here. The crowd expectation, is it, and I know it's big comparison, absolute oranges as far as USF football and then women's basketball, because women's basketball draws in a huge crowd out there at the Yuengling Center. Do they at least fill out the venue for both men's, women's soccer?
Yeah, I would say they do. They get good crowds. I don't know if it's going to be a complete sellout. Now, tomorrow, I think, will be a sellout. I do think it's going to be one of the biggest games of the season in regards to attendance numbers. You got the number one team in the country. You have Florida State. You're going to have a lot of people travel in just to go see Florida State play. It's going to be a packed house tomorrow. Like, there's no denying that it is going to be wild tomorrow night. I'm excited for it. It's one of the bigger games that I've gotten to stat in regards to soccer. So it's going to be nice to be able to do that. For men's, I would say it's probably going to be the same thing. The women's team is very interesting, though. You got a new head coach. Denise Schilte-Brown is now over at the Tampa Bay Sun, obviously coaching over there in the pro level, which is really cool. I'm happy she stayed in the Tampa Bay area and got that opportunity. She's well deserving of it. But I think the crowds are going to be really good this year. I think there's a lot of excitement. The women's schedule is going to be very, very strong this year. If I can pull it up real quick, I will. They got non-con games against Florida State. They have a game against Kansas. They have a game against UCF on September 5th. They have obviously their conference games. They have one against the number 10 ranked Memphis. So you have two ranked teams already in their conference schedule, or two in their schedule this season. And then you obviously have four who are, pretty solid programs. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a pretty exciting soccer season. I'm very much excited to see how the women's team is going to do under new head coach Chris Brown. And for the men's team, kind of the same as well. We'll see how they do. Their schedule isn't as strong as the women's, but I do think it's going to be entertaining to see how they perform. And I'm looking forward for the upcoming season. There's a few West Coast teams coming in. UC Irvine and Seattle are coming in. Obviously a few Florida teams as well. So it's going to be fun. Looking forward to the upcoming year.
I think UC Irvine will probably be another one because I know there's a lot of folks that have come from the California side of the house over this way. So I think that should draw a really good crowd. The UC Irvine
be
game.
Fun. And do you know what their team name is?
For UC Irvine?
Yeah.
No.
They're the Anteaters.
Okay. Interesting.
So, don't get eat.
What's that?
Don't get eat.
Yeah, apparently. That's all right. Well, are the Aardvarks somewhere nearby too? For
I would be surprised if there's a team called the Aardvarks, but that is their. I mean, it's not as bad though as Long Beach State's baseball team name. They're the Dirtbags.
Really?
Yeah, that's like their nickname.
All right. Well, speaking of, I'm not calling this team dirtbag, so make sure everybody understand it. Did you see that Savannah Bananas are getting a TV contract?
Yes, I did. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I respect them though for that too, because that shows how big they've been able to grow. And that's a really good testament to their marketing and their entertainment value and like what they bring to the table. So I'm happy that they got it. It's cool. But they're growing too big now. They're becoming the Harlem Globetrotters they're kind of oversaturated a little bit.
They are.
Because now they're just becoming more of like I mean, they're like, it was cool when they were kind of like a local story, but now it's like I like that they're national. I'm happy they're national, but it's just like it's tough to buy tickets. It's tough to get involved with them now. It's just it's kind of a shame.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you market your brand really well. And if you guys have never heard the story between the husband and the wife, I mean, you talk about going for broke and then being broke and then figure out how to not be broke anymore. I know it sounds kind of silly saying it that way, but I mean, they both believed in the product and what they can do. I mean, God bless them, because if I'm the husband and wife, I'm thinking about like, okay, I finally got a TV deal. I think we've probably hit the peak of what we're going to take this team to. And if someone comes around and says, I'm buying a team, guess what? Within all the success and everything, I mean, that's a story that you can tell for years to come. Yep. If it's me and someone offers me a nice chunk of change for it, I'm saying, you know what? We did it. We hit what we wanted to hit, and we can retire young and enjoy the rest of our lives. But knowing the husband and wife, they want to continue doing what they do. But yeah, you figure what I think when they first started, you're talking about $3, $5, $7 tickets that they couldn't sell. And then they were giving away. And now the ticket prices are absolutely insane. But again, when you build...
They're selling out Major League ballparks. They're selling out Fenway. Like,
yeah.
It's not normal. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, even in normal baseball nowadays, we're not seeing sellouts at Fenway Park. Like, it's just not happening. It's remarkable. I mean, I give a lot of credit to them. They've done a really good job of branding that thing out, making it big as it is, and they even have a cruise that they're doing at the end of the year. So it's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Real quick on the Long Beach State thing. So their official name, they're the Long Beach State Beach.
Oh, what?
They're the beach.
Long Beach State. Oh, wow. You know, I think I'd take the ants over to Long Beach State Beach. That just...
Anteaters. UC Irvine's the Anteaters.
Right. No, I get that. But what I'm saying is because the Long Beach State Beach, do you understand that doesn't make any sense?
I know. It does not. There's already beach in the name.
Right.
They used to be the 49ers, and then they became the Beach.
Okay. Hey, whatever floats your boat.
Beach. Hey, listen, beaches are scary, man. A lot of kids.
Yeah, not that scary.
It'd be frightening.
The ones in Miami are a lot of fun, wink, wink. So, yeah they're not that scary.
They're scary in a good way.
That they are. Speaking about Miami, by the way, soon we'll be having a new addition here to the network as well as the sideline multimedia journalist, Jamie Nunez, who just recently graduated from FIU, Florida International University. If you guys have not heard, that Pitbull has been the now who got the naming rights for the stadium. So it'll be Pitbull Stadium. So soon, Jamie will be joining the network at a capacity where he will be informing us about FIU and what's going on there during the College of Sports season. So he will be soon being an addition here to the network as well. So we're looking forward to having Jamie on board. You guys probably end up seeing him with me, and then possibly other things. I won't give too much away, but that'll be coming up here as the Coastal Sports Network continues to grow, as we are Southwest Florida's newest game in town. And if you guys have been following Broad Street South, you guys know that I've been down here now since 2018, started the network off in 2020. And since then, it continues to grow and keeps merging out and going to different places. So setting up the digital sports station, the radio station itself, has been a task. Still a lot to go with the sports station, but nonetheless, it continues to grow. We continue to evolve and continue to add very, very talented people like Dylan and others here on the network. So we do appreciate everyone who's on. But so USF men soccer, women's coming up. And the USF, before we move on to other things as well, Dylan, because USF has now really have gotten on the map with coaches that are on their men's basketball team, women's basketball team with Coach Hernandez. I mean, these guys could, and Coach Hernandez, which I believe, it probably wouldn't be long before he gets called up either by another university or if not a team itself, but he says that he wants to stay here. Has USF become a destination?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're in the downtown part of Tampa. You're in a great market. USF in the next 5 years, if they could continue to keep growing this program, right? And this is all their athletics. They could continue to keep growing. USF will be in a Power 5 conference or Power 4 or whatever you want to call it, because now the Pac-12 is gone, basically. they will be in a big conference in the future. They will be on the same level as UCF if they keep going in this right trajectory. And it's crazy to believe, right? Like a few years ago, Michael Kelly, there was a lot of people saying Michael Kelly was not going to, he needed to make sure that these hires were correct. And he did. He did a great job. And I'm excited to see what USF has to offer this upcoming season. Football is going to be exciting with Alex Golesh in his second year. He's got some exciting non-con games on the schedule with Miami and Alabama, and obviously his conference schedule. They may honestly win the conference this year. It's not the most outlandish thing to say. You have men's basketball with Amir Abdul-Rahim, who's looking to try to go and have a awesome season. And then you look at the women's non-con schedule. Angel, did you see the women's non-con schedule?
And not as of yet.
It's ridiculous the amount of solid programs that are a part of it. You have at UConn, at home against Vanderbilt at the Yuengling Center, on the road but in Orlando against Louisville. You have at South Carolina and at home against Duke. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
That's those are four or five notable programs. I mean, Vandy and Vandy and Duke aren't on the same level as a South Carolina or UConn or even Louisville. But that is going to be entertaining basketball to watch this year. The women's team is going to have a lot of exciting stuff happening. For the men's team, the schedule isn't as strong, but they do start out the year against Florida. That will be exciting up in Jacksonville. It would have been nice if that was at home in Tampa, but to each his own. But hey, it's going to be a fun year. And then you look at baseball with Mitch Hannons, the new head coach for USF Baseball. And I hope he does well with that program, because that will really round out all the major programs that needed that backing and that support with a new head coach. And maybe this is the opportunity. Maybe we're going to see, baseball get back on the map. And obviously softball's been very competitive. Soccer's done well. A lot of these other sports have done well. Tennis has done well. So we'll see. Hopefully it's going to be an exciting year. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to get back into doing stuff again with USF. For people who don't know, I'm an intern with the program. So it's exciting to see the program really growing as I'm kind of getting into USF. Like last year, my first year, and seeing the basketball team and football team do really well was cool. So
yeah, they've come a long ways. I think people can't discount them out anymore when it comes to the March Madness, because both of these teams are destined. They're really destined for national championships. They definitely are on the national spotlight. Again, what both coaches have done with the men's and women's basketball alone to put them on the map has been nuts. And for the locals here, I mean, you used to hear more about UCF in Orlando than you did about USF, but now USF is really starting to rattle some cages around here, and it's nice to see. There'll be a lot of coverage coming up, if you guys have kind of figured out here, a little bit of a preview when it comes to USF. So there'll be a lot of coverage coming up here this season with USF teams, which I've been fortunate enough to be credentialed for the fall season, which is going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait, which means I'm going to see that handsome man's face all over the place. It'll just drive me nuts, but whatever.
I'll be there a lot. I'll be statting a lot of soccer games this fall. I enjoy doing the soccer games. I will be there tomorrow, so we'll be seeing each other tomorrow, which will be exciting. And it's a big game tomorrow, man. It's probably the biggest game of the season. So I'm excited that you're able to come out, and it's going to be, hopefully we get the win. It'll be incredible if we do win. It'll be maybe the biggest win in the program's history.
It will be nice. It will be nice. You guys have got a lot of soccer coverage this year by USF. Hopefully we'll get some nice interviews lined up for you guys as well. So we'll be covering a lot of USF men's soccer here coming up for the USF Fall Olympic season. So this is going to be just a lot of fun, and can't wait to continue the relationship with USF, and it's going to be fantastic. By the way, Gaspam Guy says USF is great. I mean, you got Busch Gardens right down the road, so that should be a selling point also, LOL, which is, it is. And like I said, you have down there, you have the Yuengling Brewery, which is right there on 30th Street, right down, literally. You can walk there if needed to be, or take a short ride from Uber. But it's a great facility, great food. During football season, I know they kind of changed up their schedules, but that's another great little landing spot for everybody who's nearby there, by the campus.
I need to take a tour of the Yuengling Brewery. I've never actually been over there.
So they're redoing right now the brewery.
Okay.
Yeah, that was so. Yeah. What ended up happening was, so they closed it for tours because they were making the new Yingling restaurant side. And if you haven't been there, that's really nice over there as well.
I need to get over there.
Yeah, it's nice, great food. But it's really nice over there. And then because they're also making a new hotel on site, and from what I was told, as soon as they have the infrastructure up for the hotel, then they'll open up the brewery center all over again, because that's going through a whole different rebuild model. Because what's going to happen is for Yingling, and Yingling, you're welcome for the free promo here. But what's happening is, so the new restaurant that they just made there last year.
Is it open? Is the restaurant open?
Oh, it's open. Yeah.
We should try it tomorrow. We should go out and grab a bite to eat it there. I would like to actually check it out.
We'll see. Depending on what time I get wrapped up with all this stuff, if I can make it out there early enough, hopefully. But
I got to be there like 5:45, I think. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see exactly at what time.
Maybe it's open late. Maybe we could go afterwards.
Possibly. I'm not too sure. I know there's certain times where they don't open late during the week. I think
that's
Friday,
also
Saturday.
a Thursday. It might be kind of a weird day. So
yeah. But nonetheless, what's happening with the Yingling place over there at 30th Street in Tampa? Yep. So the reason why the hotel, the new restaurant facility, and then the Yingling Brewery, this is going to be now the template, because after the rebuild, so after they were done with the build in Tampa, the next thing was to go down to Houston, if I remember correctly, to build the next Yingling Center over there in Houston. And it's supposed to be modeled with the one from Tampa. And then the original brewery back home in Pennsylvania, that is also supposed to be remodeled with the template of what they created in Tampa. And if it's going to be anything like the one in Tampa, it's a beautiful facility, especially for us, because down here in the fall, we love to be outside a lot of times. And there's Joey B. LOL, Dylan, Angel making a dinner date. Deb in Studio B now questioning everything. No, it's not that kind of party. And she just pulled up, by the way, on the golf cart. But no, listen, the big thing, next segment, callers and texters. Chat, ask Deb out on dates. Joey B's got a million of them. But no, listen, so the Yingling, so it's, everything they did in Tampa is going to be mirrored to all the other facilities, which I can't see. It's supposed to be, the one here in Tampa is supposed to be a state-of-the-art brewing center. So I'm dying to see once it's done. Once it's completed, it's supposed to be really nice. So I'm just waiting to see. So Yingling, just throwing it out there. You guys throw a tour together. It would be fantastic. So we do appreciate it. And same way, like if you guys have not been to JC Newman Cigar Company down here in Tampa, that is an absolutely outstanding cigar campus. The oldest.
I've not been there either.
You haven't been there?
No, I haven't.
Listen, I got a tour from Mr. Newman himself. I think Deb and I were out there like 2 years ago now. It's close to 2 years. And that's thanks to our friend out there, Goose. Goose's Monte Cristo Lounge with Tobacconist out in Pennsylvania. But that place it's terrific. You get the history behind the cigars, how they were able to.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, how they make it, you get to see it firsthand. The history behind them remaining the only oldest cigar makers here in the United States, and then what they do actually overseas. A school that they're tied into, that they've donated money so they can get that school up and running for kids who aren't able to afford to go. The Newman story is, I gotta reach back out to them. The Newman story it's such a great story, and what they do and how much they've given back. Those guys have done it well, and I mean they've taken care of the Tampa region for a long time. The last time, matter of fact, when the Lightning won the second cup, I had Greg, which is the MC for the Tampa Bay Lightning, Miss Sonia Bryson, which obviously sings the national anthem, and then Mr. Newman on with us. And he was actually a surprise that evening. Both of them didn't know that he was going on there. He was coming on the show because he's done a lot with the Lightning as well. That is an absolutely historical campus to visit. It's such a great time. The shop is really beautiful. I mean, and the staff the same way. I think it was a 2-hour tour. Felt all but 10 minutes, how fast it went. So I'll have to get together with him to see if we're going to do a live set over there as well, because he's such a fine gentleman, such a fine establishment. If you guys are coming to the Tampa region, visit JC Newman Cigar. out there in Tampa. It is such a great place. Well worth the tour fee. Matter of fact, when Debbie and I were there was a bachelor party group that came through. And you would think, like most of the times you hear about bachelor parties, they go out to Vegas, they go out to the strip clubs. Nope, these guys all came into town because they were on the tour with us and they wanted to learn how the cigars were made. And it was really cool. But it's a great time. So if you guys have not come down here and visited J.C. Newman Cigar Company, it's a great time. You guys will not be disappointed.
We might have to do that together. That would be pretty cool. I would like to check that out. Yeah,
it's fun. It's such a great time, such a great establishment. So visit them. I believe also jcnewmancigar.com, if I remember correctly. I'll have to double check, but to make sure. But it's such a great place, such a fantastic facility, and you can't go wrong. All right, we are going to take here our next break. When we come back, I want to get into, because there's been an update with the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk, but the Steelers apparently still have somewhat of a trade in place. So I want to get the video to that with Adam Schefter, and we'll talk about that after the break. And then at 11:30, if all goes well, we will have our Bucks report coming up via phone. So if that goes well, you guys should be thoroughly entertained. So we will take a quick break, come back, and I literally mean a quick break. We'll come right back and we'll get into the story with Brandon Ayuk and potentially a trade in place. So you're listening to Martinez Company. I am Angel Martinez. He is Dylan Spalding. Joining me today here on the Coastal Sports Network. We'll be back quickly right after this message.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Are you done? Are you done?
I am. I'm done.
Goodness.
You can only imagine what I'm doing on the
Visit BroadStreetSouth.com
and follow Angel on X and Instagram at SR1029 The Game.
Now back to Martinez and Company
On Sports Radio
102.9 The Game.
Sometimes I swear it, I'll without anybody knowing, I'll put in the little secret camera in the corner so you can see this one over here dancing around to the latest promo that we have. Thank you to JimmyTheBeefGuy.com for coming on board with us. And this one enjoys the music so much that he had his own little
tune.
Yeah, it is. It's very catchy.
Do you know who sings it? Do you know who's the artist on it?
No, not at all. Don't know who the artist is. So
okay.
Your guess is as good as mine. But
it's
no.
you. It's actually you. You're just not taking the credit for it.
Sure. Let me, I got to move a screen around here because I know pretty soon we'll have the call to come in.
The Italian Angel Martinez.
Yes, exactly. Let me add you to this screen over here because I want to make sure that so you can see the video as much as I will. So let me scramble a couple of things around, which I have to do here on the fly. Shrink that down just a bit so you guys can still see the Gene the dancing machine over here. It had fun on the last commercial break, but I want to bring up this as we'll roll into some football here, but I want to get into this with, again, Adam Schefter giving us an update about, apparently this happened about 10:30 this morning, and more likely on the Pat McAfee show. So there's an update on the, I guess, Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes, if there is going to be a sweepstakes for Brandon Ayuk. So here's Adam Schefter, I believe, also on the Pat McAfee show. And this could have been possibly from August 12th, but we shall see.
The Ayuk thing, look, this saga, and it's been a saga, has had more twists and turns over the last few months than any story that I've seen in a long time in the offseason. And this has been at a point where at one point it looked like, okay, he might get traded to Cleveland. And then it looked like, oh boy, he might get traded to New England. And then it looked like he might get traded to Pittsburgh. And now it looks like, you know what? The 49ers sit down, the two sides talk it out. And now, and we'll see where it goes, now it looks like the focus and emphasis is on keeping him in San Francisco and not trading him. But I would say that this has had many twists and turns to it. And until there's final resolution, you don't know. But the 49ers want to keep him. They don't want to trade him. They've never wanted to trade him. They've wanted to get a deal worked out with him. The deal has been elusive. The player was the one who requested the trade. The player was the one who tweeted at Mike Tomlin. The player was the one who went on with Jaden Daniels and talked about going to the command. The 49ers were not interested in doing those sorts of things. They were interested in getting a deal done because they wanted to keep the player.
So, as you heard Adam Schefter there talking about that they wanted to keep Brandon Ayuk, I still believe that he's not going anywhere. I wouldn't think. Then again, we've seen stranger things happen as well. When we've heard teams say they're not going to trade a guy, then they turn around, they trade the guy. One never knows. Now, he's still a 49er. Still not on the practice field as far as being able to play his reps because he wants a new contract. Don't forget, he's also coming off a rookie contract as well. So, Dylan, your thoughts as far as Ayuk are, could someone, maybe a sleeper that none of us know about, end up making a trade for him? Or do the 49ers really keep what they say in place by saying, nope, he's not going to go anywhere?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ayuk may get traded at some point just because I think that there's been so much talk about it. It almost seems like it's got to be true. I probably see him getting traded, but I don't know if it's going to be during camp. I do think it may be before the trade deadline.
Well, according to ESPN here, they said that San Francisco 49ers are still trying to work on a long-term contract with Brandon Ayuk, but also have agreed to parameters of a trade that would send the star wide receiver to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which sources have told ESPN. The defending NFC champion 49ers don't want to trade Ayuk, sources told ESPN, but contract negotiations have at times been continuous as the second-team All-Pro continues his holding in at training camp. Talks between the Niners and the Steelers have quieted in the recent days, but a source told ESPN's Jeremy Fowler that an Ayuk trade is one phone call away. Now, they really don't get into as far as like who they would end up being traded out there for. I know there was other teams that had acquired about his services, but New England was supposed to be one, but New England said they wanted to stay focused with what they have in house, and therefore they didn't want to make any kind of wheels and deals and trades. But we'll see. We shall see. So coming up here within the next 2 minutes, we should be getting our phone call in about the Bucs report to see how the Dylan's favorite Buccaneers group are doing here. Obviously with the young, we'll still call him the young quarterback that you guys have in place. By the way, just to let you guys know, your backup QB, there's a reason why he's still a backup. That game from last weekend, Kyle Trask, I'm sorry, will not be. You guys better hope that Baker Mayfield does not get hurt. That's all I got to say.
I thought the team played well. I mean, I don't know if Trask particularly played the best, but I thought the team played solid. Uh-oh, who's that?
So, on the line, doing the Bucs report, you guys normally hear him, or at least you see his text being read across the screen. Gas Pump Guy, now doing a segment here with Martinez Company. GPG being on the phone. GPG, first of all, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
Just fine, except for Dylan.
Oh, I'm doing okay.
Dance.
Yeah, well, I'll have to, maybe I'll take out a segment of it and put it out there on social media so you guys can see how much this one dances. But nonetheless, though, GPG. So obviously the Bucs, we are now in week 2 of training camp, leading up into week 3 here. But it's hot in the Tampa region, hot all over Florida itself. And we saw week 1 with Baker Mayfield and crew, more of Kyle Trask than anything else. I just had mentioned to Dylan that to me, Kyle Trask would not be a starter here with the Bucs unless Baker Mayfield goes down. So I'd like to get the update from you as far as what the Bucs are up to and your thoughts as far as preseason game.
Well, first and foremost, Trask has been with the Bucs since he got drafted, and I don't know. I like Kyle Trask. I've always liked Kyle Trask when he was in college. I really don't see him being a starter. I mean, I think it's even an uphill battle because they got John Wolford, I think is his last name. They have him there too, and he's a veteran. He's been in the league for like 5 years also. I just don't see him having him as a starter or even a backup.
Hang on, as I muted myself. My apologies. But Dylan, who likes to also cover the Buccaneers, I mean, he goes out there, season ticket holder, him and his stepfather, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we used to be season ticket holders. We're now off season ticket holders, but we're still going to be going to Bucs games this year.
Oh, okay. See some breaking news here, GPG, for those who didn't know, because he would rub in my face every time, like, "Hey, Angel, what are you doing this Sunday?" Guess where I'm going. So that's okay. That's all right. But so listen, obviously, there's teams that are going around there. The injury bug this season I think has been bigger than any other season that we can remember, and it's only preseason. So far, the Bucs have been doing well as far as conditioning. Looking at what the team has done here during the 2 weeks of camp, what do we expect for this upcoming week? And what are your thoughts? Even though we're not going to see too much action from Baker Mayfield, and obviously then Tristan Wirth, he also had that nice contract. Rightfully so. But what do we expect at least this upcoming season? One is, let's go with the upcoming game. What do you see at least with this upcoming game coming up this week?
I think we're going to see a lot more of Kyle Trask and John Wolford. I know Coach Bowles said on Monday that he's not planning on playing any of the starters until maybe the third game. So I think we're going to still see a lot of Trask and a lot of Wolford. I do want to touch on just Bucky Irvin for real quick for a second.
Sure.
This guy is a phenomenal back. Like he knows how to make his cuts, and he can let's see what's the word I want to look for. He can burst through the hole, as they say, and he runs north and south and he gets it. I mean, he's got some amazing speed, and I was seeing on some videos of training camp, he can even catch out of the backfield, which is awesome for Baker also.
No, okay. He's still there. I want to make sure I didn't lose. No, so now with Kyle Trask, and again, this just my thoughts. GBG, don't burn the messenger here, but it will, and because it seems like a very serious situation here. But again, Baker Mayfield, we're going to see two different versions. Let's not forget last season with Dave Canales, right, who's now the head coach over with the Carolina Panthers. But he said, and I think it's the best that we've seen out of Baker Mayfield since he's been in the NFL. Could he still look, if not maybe just a tad bit better than we saw last year? And I know a lot of the residents here, a lot of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans are really excited that Baker Mayfield decided to stay here for another year. And not to say he can't be here for the foreseeable future, maybe a 2-year contract extension, at least one more year as Kyle Trask continues to develop. But the expectations for Baker Mayfield, in your opinion, and as far as like covering the Bucs, the expectations are they bigger than what we expect from the first season being with the Bucs, or do we see him kind of like just doing another new learning growth with a new quarterback coach?
I think they're bigger, but at the same time, I feel that the new offensive coordinator, Liam Cohn, I think he's going to bring a lot more surprises and let Baker do what he does. I think it's going to open up a lot more options for how Baker can throw and where he wants to throw the ball to. He's going to be able to open up, as they say, the playbook more. I think he's going to give him more options and play more to Baker's strengths than what Canales did, because Canales wanted to concentrate on the run, which is good. But at the same time, you have Baker Mayfield back there that can move around in the pocket. He can throw the long ball. And we know that with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, we know he's got the long ball there. Like, he has that option, but he also can run around a little bit, which I like. And I think that Cohen will actually let him do that more and this system that he has led up for him.
Right. Dylan, I'm sorry. Did you?
Yeah, actually, I have a question for you, my friend. Gas Pump Guy, quick question for you here on the show. Looking at this receiver room, Rondé Barber had made mention on the preseason game that he thought that I forgot the guy's first name, but Canu is his last name. He had mentioned that he may make the he thinks he's going to make the roster as a starting receiver. Now, it's hard to deny Rondé Barber a lot of times, but do you feel like this receiver room is pretty much set to go? I mean, with everybody that they have, with Jalen McMillan, with Sterling Shepard, with Trey Palmer as well, do you feel like that this receiver room is set, or do you see maybe them going with a 6 receiver room, or maybe have some guys on the practice squad as well? What do you see this receiver room looking like here? And do you believe it's already set in stone, or do you think that there may be at least an additional receiver added on within maybe the 5 who are pretty much set in stone, I would say?
I do see the receiver room being pretty well set, but also I think that they may keep a guy on the practice squad just in case, like Angel was saying, the injury bug that attacks any team anywhere. It doesn't care who you are. So I think Coach Bowles will try and keep maybe an extra guy, but the 5 that we have now, I think we are pretty good and pretty set in that position, and I think that we're going to do pretty well.
Do you also think too, with Liam Cohen coming in, how do you feel like? Do you feel like Baker and do you think Walford will be the number 2? Do you think he's gonna, with him knowing this system and understanding this system, do you think that he will surpass Trask this training camp, or do you think that Trask is still going to be the number 2 guy following training camp? Because obviously Baker's the guy, but that's, I think, kind of the big story is who's that number 2 quarterback right now.
Honestly, I think it's a tight race. I've been watching some of the training camp videos and highlights, and they both, they're in shorts and tennis shoes. Sometimes they're in pads, but I think that it's a closer race than a lot of people think. I think Trask has come a long way, and I think that Combe is just going to push that confidence even more. And I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people want to realize. I know Wolford is a good quarterback, and he can be a backup quarterback, and he has the experience to do that. But if Trask can just hone it in a little bit more and make less interceptions, because even in the preseason game, he had 144 yards and 1 interception. You know, if you can cut those little mistakes, it was a throw that he shouldn't have threw it, and he probably knew he shouldn't have threw it, but he threw it anyway. So if he just cut back on some of those mistakes and know where to throw the ball, I think it'll be a real close game on who's going to be the second.
And then one more quick question before I go back to Angel here real quick. So obviously the NFL, there's a lot of talks about them going to 2 games in the preseason and expanding the regular season to 18 games. One of the big things we see a lot now is these, joint practices. The Bucs have 2 this week, which I think is why we're seeing a lot of their starters not play this weekend, because they're basically going to get their work in through these joint practices with Jacksonville. So can you just touch base on, do you expect to see more joint practices, and what do you think are the biggest things that the Bucs can take away from these joint practices against Jacksonville, a team that may be very competitive this year, depending on how they perform with Trevor Lawrence and with this team that they have? How do you feel like, what do you think they should take away from these practices heading into this weekend to feel kind of good about themselves with their starting group?
I like the joint practices because it helps you develop. You're not playing against the same people all the time, and you can actually, that competitiveness can come out a little more. I don't really like all the fights and stuff that's going on. I mean, I get it. You guys, they're professional players. They get the adrenaline going and all that. But if they can just cut back on the fights and just concentrate on the football more, I think that the joint practices is a good idea. Because, like I said, it just helps you, your ability to get better. And, obviously they're not going to show you every play that they're going to do against you. But at the same time, at least that way you can feel out how they're moving or what they're saying. And, just kind of get an idea of what you're going to go up against,
Absolutely. Angel?
We shall see how it all plays out. Last question I have for you, Gas Pump Guy, is everybody knows that Mike Evans wanted to be here. He wanted to be here for a longer term contract than what the Buccaneers offered. You can't not say that Mike Evans is not at least a top 10 wide receiver. And it just seems like the Bucs were kind of a little bit hesitant as far as dropping a lot of money Mike Evans' way, but he played, right? Always the consummate athlete that he is, that he wanted to make sure he let the Buccaneers fans know and the fans here in Tampa that he wanted to stay here as long as he possibly could. Are we going to see possibly, and I'm stretching the word possibly as long as much as I can, could we possibly see yet another year from now, another bigger contract for Mike Evans if the Bucs want to retain him as the wide receiver?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, Mike Evans is a staple in Tampa. I mean, I don't even live in Tampa, but I have friends that live in Tampa, and Mike Evans does a lot for the community, and all the fans love him. All the front office loves him. Jason Light loves him. You know, if we can just get the salary cap to where it needs to be, I don't think there'll be any hesitation if Mike Evans wants to play again next year or be with Tampa next year. I don't see why they won't give him another contract. That, like I said, that's on Mike and the front office. Another thing I will say though is Mike Evans has had 10 years of 1,000 yards, and I do believe he's a top 10 receiver. But at the same time, I don't understand why ESPN and all the big places, they don't give him. Maybe it's because he's on the Bucs and we're in the NFC South, and supposedly NFC South is the crap division, so what they say. But at the same time, you know, this guy is phenomenal. He works hard day in, day out. 1,000-yard receiver every season. I just don't understand why they don't prop him up like they do all these other receivers, you know?
Yeah. No.
I got one more quick question, Gas Pump Guy. It's Creamsicle Day. Happy Creamsicle Day to you. What's your favorite creamsicle moment when the Bucs were wearing the creamsicle uniforms, or who's your favorite player who got to wear the creamsicles?
Well, I don't have a favorite player per se. I have a favorite team, which is the 02 Bucs when we won our first Super Bowl with Rondé Barber, John Lynch, Derek Brooks, Sapp, Simeon Rice. You know, all those players, those are the players that I look when I see the creamsicle. Those are the players that I associate with the creamsicle. Like I said, I don't really have a favorite game with them wearing the creamsicle. I just have a favorite team overall, if that answers your question a little bit, I guess.
That works. No, that works. Hey, they didn't bring back the creamsicles till like 2010. So
yes.
And then they brought them back just this past year. So yeah, it's cool. I like how they embrace the creamsicle. This is one of my favorite looks. I think this is arguably the best look. I would love them to wear this maybe for another game, but I feel like it also takes away kind of the specialtiness of the jersey if they wear it for 2 games. I feel like just having this one game where they do up the stadium, you see the flags, you see all the old school like logos and stuff. It's pretty neat. I was at the game last year and it was cool to see it come back because I never got to see them. I've never seen the creamsicle uniforms in person on the football field. So it was really cool to be able to be a part of that because I'm a little younger than I was born in the year that they won the Super Bowl, basically.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't want them to bring it back too much, but like you said, the one game, that's good because that kind of brings out the nostalgic of the whole uniform. You know what I mean? And that's really what football is about. You know, bringing back those memories of, oh, I remember when they wore this and they did this, and that's just for me. That's just what I like about football is when you have games like that where they wear creamsicle or the throwback jerseys is what they call. You know, that just brings back memories and it just makes it fun.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, Gas Pump Guy, thank you for the weekly segment here that you guys will be listening throughout the NFL season. The Bucs Report with Gas Pump Guy will also have other people that love to talk about the Bucs as well here locally for Tampa. But GPG, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Hey, Angel, I just did want to mention one more thing.
Sure.
Graham Barton, he was I think he was the most standout in the first preseason game. He had 18 snaps, 0 pressures. I mean, you got to love that center on a center for a center that knows that he can block that quarterback.
Starter material?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, we see. We shall see. It's got to get better for the Bucks. I know a lot of times that people don't take them as serious as they should. I'm still on the fence, though, GBG. If I'm being honest with Todd Bowles, I just don't see him as the future head coach here with the Bucks. But he's got another year to prove himself, whether he's the worth of staying here again. I mean, obviously, your former head coach who won a Super Bowl with the Bucks, he believes in him. We shall see. I think this is going to be a true test for Todd Bowles this season.
Oh yeah, for sure. And just to touch again, I'm with you, Angel. I really don't think Todd Bowles is the main man, but you never know. There's surprises everywhere. Every day you wake up, there could be a surprise. So I'm with you. I don't know if he's the main guy that we need to bring us to the Super Bowl again, but it's a good start.
All right, we'll see. We'll see, but it's going to be an interesting season to say the least. But I hope Baker Mayfield really has a breakout season as much as he did last year. I don't think last year was a fluke. Dave Canales brought the best out of him, so we shall see. But Gaspam Guy, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, sir, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All righty, see you guys later. Have a good one.
You as well.
Thanks, Gaspam.
All right, so there goes Gaspam Guy, and we thank him for calling in for what's going to be his weekly segment on the Bucks here. As a couple of comments coming in before we close out the show. Joey B says the 2024 minimum salary for NFL practice squad players is $12,500 a week. If a player's accrued at least 2 seasons, their minimum salary is $16,800 per week, and the maximum salary is $21,300 per week. Now, call me crazy. Some jobs, part-time jobs, you might make that in the entire year. So listen, it is amazing, Joy B, because that is some crazy scratch when you really think about it. And then he follows up with, for Creamsicle Bucks game week, Angel and Dylan need to wear their old jersey or old orange Buck t-shirts. Okay, first of all,
he's not a Bucks fan.
Correct. So,
although you do have a Bucks helmet over there, we've talked about this in the past. It's a bit of a conflict of interest, I feel like.
Well, you're in the Tampa. Well, the same way, right above here, which you guys can't see, and I don't have the other camera angle live, so you guys can see. I'll bring it up the next time you're on. But I also have the Lightning helmet up here. Listen,
the Lightning haven't, like, the Flyers haven't been that good over the last few years.
They haven't, but the turnaround started last year with Jonesy and Briere, so we'll see. I think last year it was go with Coach T. I can't wait to see the Flyers. I think not able to get to the playoff door would be a complete bust this season. And they almost did it last year. I didn't expect it, honestly, and I mentioned it before the season started. I did not expect the Flyers to make the playoffs with the rebuild and the way they're doing. They were at the door, but just couldn't, open the door to get into the playoffs. But I think this year we'll see a completely different Flyer squad than we saw from last year. But listen, I'm here local. What can I'm a local team.
I understand. So. We like picking on you.
Yeah.
We'll get you one of those creamsicle helmets. By the way, they're actually doing something in Armature Works tonight. They're doing the creamsicle night at the Armature Works tonight.
All right. Well, when you're down there, just pick up 2 free T-shirts, and then
I do not think I will be down there tonight. I don't know.
Okay. See, I'm trying to help you out here by saying
I will be on your show later at 6:30 with Becca Monopoly.
Okay.
I have my interview with her on Friday. So.
All right. I was throwing it out there. Just
They're giving away free. They're giving away free pennants. Actually,
I'm going to teach you one way or the other, young.
And they have free roller skating.
Joey B says, Dylan, thoughts on Austin Matthews being named, the captain of the Maple Leafs?
I don't know. He deserves it. I don't know. I don't follow the Maple Leafs much, but yeah, I mean, he's a great player, incredible player at that. He deserves to be a captain for the Maple Leafs. He's been there for a handful of years now, so definitely deserving of it. So no denying that for sure.
Gaspam Guys also says, I think we need to bring back the Philly Bucks rival that used to go on back in the day, Angel. Like,
I don't know. It feels like it's been like that the last few years. We feel like we play the Eagles every year. We're playing them again this year. So
yeah, and that hasn't fared out too well. So hopefully this time when they come here, it'll be a lot better than what they've done in in the past couple seasons because it's been detrimental to my health, if anything else. But
real briefly before we end up, I want to ask you real quick.
Sure.
What are your thoughts about the whole Austin Dillon thing before we let you go?
On NASCAR? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Was it dirty? Yes. Have we not seen that before with other rivals? Yes. But I mean, that was more than obvious. An act, to me, I would call even an act of desperation because, come on, Dylan. I mean, you got Joey Logano is your man in first. And I mean, you take out 2 cars to be able to get in.
Watching it back, if you see the aerial view, you can see maybe why he hit Hamlin more so that was maybe he was trying to avoid Logano, but taking out Logano was wrong, right? Like that was not fair. That like Logano had that race won, he should have won it fair and square. And basically Dillon just gassed it and floored it into the turn and tried to put as much pressure on him as he could, bumped into him. And if you hear the team radio, there was even a radio clip that said, wreck him, wreck him, wreck him.
Yeah.
Which is not a good look.
It's not. Back in the day, I mean, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. I mean, when you had, Richard Petty, guys that you knew, listen, Rubbin is still racing no matter what, but not when it's that deliberate.
That was very dirty, in my opinion. And it makes the sport look like a joke. And then the sport basically just saying, it's fine. It's all good. He's won. Like, I don't know, man. I understand the frustration on it. I don't know. There was a video, though, that did surface of Logano trying to run over the Austin Dillon, family members. Did you see this?
No.
I'm gonna have to show this to you afterwards. I'll screen share it on FaceTime with you when I get off this phone call. But there's a video of Austin Dillon coming down pit road and basically flooring it as he sees the Dillon pits, basically. They're all kind of in the way. That was wrong. The way he handled it was wrong in that instance. Everything he said I agree with, but handling it that way, that's not right.
You said Joey Logano tried to run him over?
Yes, look it up. Joey Logano tries running over Austin Dillon.
Oh boy, this should be interesting. We can end it on this one here if it ends up coming up.
This is an interesting. It's a tweet. It's on Twitter. Did you find the video?
No, so I see.
Here, just put it up. Show me what you got.
I see the intense conversation. Hold on, I think I may.
He's coming down pit road. It's like an in-car camera view.
Yeah, I see. There's a still shot. I'm trying to find the video itself. I did see the still shot.
I'll look it up on Twitter too. I retweeted it. So actually, I replied about it. So I can tell you who the account was.
Hang on, this might be. Let me bring this up, Dylan. This might be it here. So give me a second. Let me scale this back, and then you can let me know if this might be it as far as what.
Okay, it's posted by Joseph Srigley, and it said that looks much worse than the footage that circulated yesterday.
Well, this is an in-car camera.
That's it. So Austin Dillon's pit is that little circle that's coming up right past the 71. And these are all the family. And that's his family right there. That's Austin Dillon's family that he just passed. So if you replay it one more time, we'll do the...
Now, I'm assuming that's an NASCAR official that's coming up. So here it goes.
He was pissed. Or it might have been an RCR official, potentially, like an RCR member.
Right.
So again, you'll see the little circle past that 71. So he's getting close. To the left is going to be Austin Dillon's family. That's we're next past the white, and then there's the family right there.
Yeah, which it doesn't. I mean, you got to be a lot smarter than that because you let me kind of rewind it here just a little bit so everybody can kind of see those who are watching on the video platform. But
so that's the family right there. That's all the girl that's one of the pit crew's wives, because they did a whole show about it and stuff. They did a show about Austin Dillon and his family. So yeah, that's that. There it is, right there.
Yeah,
he basically kind of goes left.
Correct, and it's stupid though because there's 2 babies. Now, first of all, you shouldn't hit anybody. Period. But there's 2 babies. What are you thinking? And this is like Mr. Smiley of NASCAR for many years, and now all of a sudden you got this freaking.
He's never been Mr. Smiley. He's been Mr. Sarcastic for some of his stuff. Listen, I don't like this. I agree with what Logano has said about this entire thing.
Yep.
I believe that Logano has a reason to be mad. Like, I'm not denying that whatsoever, but this is not how you handle yourself. You don't try to hit the Austin Dillon family. And it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some people asking him this week in media press conferences, like, well, was that intentional? Was it you were just trying to get out of the way? But it looks intentional. It doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. And in actuality, if they suspend him, I would have no problem with it whatsoever, because Joey B says, love the clips and the discussion. Logano going to get a nice big fine, and he doesn't care. That woman is holding a baby. What the F? Yep. He's way out of line. Yep. And Joey B follows up with that NASCAR official puts himself in harm's way to protect that family. Wow. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, you got to be... Joey Logano's got to be a lot smarter than that, because, I mean, you can clear as day. Not only are the guys that are coming off the pit crew that's just to their left of him as he continues to rev the engine, but you can clearly hear him rev it up and then hit the brakes. I mean, come on. You got to be a lot smarter.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not.
It's
not
just
right.
a
And
dumb
here
look.
comes the RCR guy or one of the guys, maybe from NASCAR, and he is pissed.
Yeah, it doesn't make that's such a bad look. Such
It
a bad
is.
look. That
You can say all the things you want about the guy. I'm fine with that. Like, listen, he did a dirty move, and he deserved to get called out for it. I'm not going to deny that. Like, Austin Dillon, it's a shame because he shouldn't be in the playoffs with that move. Like, that's not the way you race yourself into the playoffs, like, through this whole new format that they've put in. I hate that, by the way. I hate the you win and you're in situation, because there are drivers who win and they're in 30th in points. Like, it's a joke. It's an entertainment thing. Like, in every other racing series, they don't do that. Like, you win races and you win a championship because you're the best in points. That's how NASCAR should be. Not, oh, we're going to allow you to get to the next round if you win a race. Like, that just is so stupid, like, in my opinion.
No, it is.
I don't know. I don't know, man.
It's dumb. I'm pretty sure if the fine is not big, he should definitely get suspended a couple of races. I'm sorry.
Both guys should get, in my opinion, Dillon should get fined for the wreck because that was not right.
Correct.
And in my opinion, Logano should get fined for that incident.
Yeah, but I think the Logano's fine / suspension should be a lot bigger than Dillon's.
No, that was, I mean, yeah, I mean, that was not right. I mean, both are not right, but that was, I mean, those are people who aren't even involved with the race, right? Like,
right.
Those are, if you got into a fight with Dillon, if you had like physical altercation, that's a little different, right? Those are two guys who were driving in the race and were actually competing. That's like his family. Like, they don't have anything involved with any of this. So, like, doing that and just trying to like be like the big bad guy in all this, like, come on, that's not right. So.
Now, two last comments that are coming in here. One from Gas Pump Guy says, it's NASCAR where everybody gets a trophy, LOL. That seems like what it's turning into. That's one thing for sure. And then Joey B, to finish it up, says, I rev my engine at Starbucks drive-through window to prove a point, LOL. Yeah, well, you could. If you do it at Dunkin' Donuts, it might take you
He
to...
didn't get his macchiato, so he had to rev up the engine.
Oh, there you go. That could be the possibility. All right, listen, that wraps up the show today. Martinez Company, I thank Dylan Spalding for joining me. Of course, There'll be more things to talk about, as we stated, about USF. Thanks to Gas Pump Guy for calling in with the Bucks report here. That'll be happening every single week. Thanks to Joey B, Penguin AZ, all you who tune in on the social medias, we do appreciate it. Don't forget to visit sr1029thegame.com. Download the app is all we ask. It doesn't cost you a dime, but it helps us out, and we do appreciate it. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back here on Friday. Don't forget, Becca will be joining me here on Friday as well on a segment as we talk about a local Lakeland shop that's doing some great work coming up here for an October race. Joey B says, take care, fellas. Great show. Thank you, Dylan and GPG. Thank you, Joey B, as always, for tuning in. And with that, we say enjoy the rest of your sports day, and we will talk to you once again on Friday. All right. Let me, whoops. Did I go too far? Where am I? Come back, go back up, back up. Right there.